Hello and welcome to this edition of Pop and Scott Talk Baseball. Uh, Getting closer to the All Star break, another week or so. We're about halfway through the season, I guess. Um, Same old story. Pitching. Uh, Teams need pitching. Everybody's looking for it. But the last week or so, some things have changed at the top of a couple of the divisions. But we'll talk more about that here later. And what do you got for us, Dad?
Well, first of all, we two sad things. Billy Hunter was 97 years old, but he passed away. Uh, Billy Hunter was the last All-Star player from the St. Louis Browns before they moved to Baltimore and became the Orioles in
The
1954.
forgotten franchise, St. Louis Browns, not really
He,
never talked about.
right, and he was traded. He was traded to the New York Yankees before the 1956 season, and he was on the Yankees team that beat the Dodgers in 1956 for the World Series. So he was one of the pitchers, and so he did win a ring. And the other one was, this was really sad. Um, this was a young man, 44 years old. He was a closer for the White Sox back in the 2005 for about 5 years there, and they won the 2005 World Series. His name was Bobby Jenks,
Yeah,
and he was 44 years old, and he passed away in Portugal. He had stomach cancer. He was in a hospice in Portugal, and I remember Bobby Jenks when he pitched for the White Sox those few years when they won the World Series, and they clocked his fastball at 101 miles an hour. So anyway, but then we had the two passings. Now you talked about the All-Star team. Um, I have I don't have the lineups, but I have the people who won, who are playing. Cal Raleigh, the catcher for the Seattle Mariners, is for the American League, and Kirk from Toronto finished second. Vlad Jr. finished first from Toronto. Goldschmidt of the Yankees finished second. Second base was Gleyber Torres of Detroit. Jackson Holiday of the O's finished second. Shortstop. Now this is a real surprise. Jacob Wilson finished first, and Bobby Baseball, finished second. Third base, Jose Ramirez.
well, you got to remember this round is people voting, so
Yeah.
might have been some packing of
Oh,
ballot
surprise.
boxes.
Yeah, that always happens.
Right.
The third base is Jose Ramirez of Cleveland, the only player they've got that can hit. Um, and Alex Bregman finished second, so they'll have to find out a substitute for him. In the outfield is Ryan O'Hearn of the no, I'm sorry, that's the DH, Ryan O'Hearn of the Orioles. Outfield was Judge, Riley Green of the Detroit Tigers, and Javier Baez of Detroit. So Detroit managed to get some ballots. And the runner-ups were Trout and Stephen Kwan of Cleveland. In the National League, the
Yeah,
catcher.
I think Quan is getting a little robbed. Quan can hit. He
Yeah,
just
yes.
don't hit a lot of home runs.
They don't have to pitch to him, though. In the National League, the catcher was Will Smith of the Dodgers. You're going to notice the Dodgers have a lot of players on this team. Carson Kelly of the Cubs finished second. Freddie Freeman of the Dodgers finished first for first base. Pete Alonso was second. I think Pete should have won. Ketel Marte of Arizona finished first in the voting for Arizona, and Edmonds of the Dodgers finished second. Mookie beat out Francisco Lindor of the Mets for shortstop, and Cincinnati was irate that Dela Cruz didn't get it. Third base, Mac Muncy finished second to Manny Machado of the Padres, but of course Muncy's on the injured list now, so they'll have to find somebody else. And guess what? The DH is Ohtani. Real surprise there. The outfield is Acuna, who stopped hitting. Pete Crow Armstrong of the Cubs and Kyle Tucker of the Cubs. Runner-ups were Teoscar Hernandez of the Dodgers, Juan Soto, Mets, and Andy Pages of the Dodgers, who's going crazy with the bat last few.
Well, Soto won the player of the year in the National League. I mean, player of the month.
Player of the month.
Yeah, for June.
The other thing, Clayton Kershaw got his 3,000th strikeout, and he got his 3,000th strikeout this year, this week, and there were only two other pitchers in the history of the sport who did it all with the same team, and that was Bob Gibson with the Cardinals and the big train, Walter Johnson with the Washington Senators.
Damn, I ain't heard Walter Johnson. That's a name there. That's
back in the 20s.
Yeah.
Let's see.
And the thing is like we might see two more 3,000 strikeout pitchers, and we know the strikeout has gone up so much, right, in the league. So do you think it's going to be 10 years from now, boom, and 3,000 strikeout hitters? Because or 3,000 pitchers, I mean?
I don't think so, because the pitchers don't go that deep.
Yeah, but even if let's say
if they got a strike, they're striking out 5 or 6 guys in 5 or 6 innings. If you give them a strikeout an inning, that's 6 innings. That's 6 strikeouts. Some games they don't get that, and they don't get much past 6. Some of them are going 7, but very few, and hardly anybody's going 8. I think they've had 3 complete games the whole year. Altuve passed Bagwell for number 2 on the Houston all-time hit list. Let's see. Now, this is odd. Pitcher Luis Ortiz of Cleveland is on paid leave, and he's under league investigation. And I can't find out why.
Who was this?
His name is Luis Ortiz. He's a pitcher for the Cleveland Guardians. And he's on leave. He's on paid leave, and he's under a league investigation.
Huh. I wonder if it's for
who knows
substance. He might have pushed against it or something.
Abuse. It could be. Who knows? New York Yankees. Another pitcher, Clark Schmidt, left the game Thursday with forearm tightness. They're starting to lose pitchers left and right.
He's got to get Tommy John surgery. It came out yesterday.
Oh, really? It came out yesterday? Okay.
Yeah, one of my friends, because the Mets are playing the Yankees, which I have on right now. One of my friends that's a Yankees fan came across, and it came out yesterday during the game.
And they think the Yankees will be trying to trade. They need a third baseman big time so they can move, what's his name, to second base. It looks like they might want to trade for the third baseman for the Colorado Rockies, Ryan McMahon. I watched some of the Rockies game the other day, and that kid made 3 plays at third base that were outstanding.
Is he left-handed hitter?
I don't remember. I really don't.
But when he came up with some clout. Just a little note for going back to Piazza. He did Piazza. Pete Alonso passed Piazza for all-time 3rd for the all-time Mets RBI leader. So,
well, good for Pete.
Yeah.
All right, now the Cubs starting pitcher Jameson Taillon, left calf strain. He left the game on I think it was Friday night, and he's got a calf strain, so he might be out for a while. That game that night, there were 8 home runs hit in the game between the Cardinals and the Cubs. Friday, the Astros beat the Dodgers 18-1.
Yeah.
And Oral Hershiser was doing the game on radio, and this is what he said. He said, it kind of looks like they know what's coming, intimating that maybe the Astros were cheating again. Now, how can they steal the signs when you're getting the signal in your ear from the ball cap?
Well, I can tell you this. So, I guess the Phillies, one of the Phillies pitchers is under investigation. It might be the Indians pitcher. That might be what it is. Somebody's under investigation for maybe gambling because
I think that's a Phillies pitcher.
He struck out Volpe and F-worded after he struck him out. So because he was like, why would he do that?
Yeah.
So he probably had the under on his strikeouts.
But Max Muncy's on the IL for the Dodgers with a bone bruise. Did you see the play that caused that?
No.
He took a throw at third base, and it was a little bit up the line, and the White Sox runner slid in head first and hit his helmet, hit Muncy in the knee. And
Yeah, I've seen it happen before.
They thought first he torn his ACL, but it's just a
Yeah,
bad.
that's what I said. I've sworn I've seen knee damage or ankle damage from those same plays.
And you and I both had bone bruises. They're no joke.
Yeah,
Those suckers hurt.
you almost rather have it broke.
Here's something else too. Certain teams are just playing horrible. Cleveland's one. One of the Cleveland announcers doing the Cleveland game finally said, "This is hard to look at." I mean, when announcers say, your home team announcer saying that, you know you've got a problem. But I've got some information on Atlanta. I remember last week I talked about the Rangers, Texas Rangers in Atlanta, just a couple of years ago, having all these lineups were stacked and blasting the ball all over the place. And this year they're not hitting. The Texas Rangers have the number one earned run average in all of baseball. Number one. But they can't win more than one or two games in a row because they can't hit.
Right.
So I got this in Atlanta. There are 183 qualified Major League Baseball players going back to June 1st. Now, here in hitting, here is where the Braves rank. 183. Harris, the center fielder, 180th. Albies, second baseman, 175. Ozuna, DH, sometime left fielder, 174. This is out of 183.
Mm-hmm.
Allen, 162. Olson, Riley is 125. Now Riley yesterday, the Orioles and the Braves were tied 6-6 going into the 10th inning. They went in the 10th inning. Riley had a home run and a double and knocked in most of the runs. But he also struck out 3 times, including in the 9th inning with runners in scoring position. So he's 125th. They had 2 in the top 25. Acuna is at 8th, and Olson is at 20. Is 22. But the rest of them, and they got they don't have much on the farm either. Their batting averages for their farm team is Gwinnett is sitting 228, Columbus, Georgia is hitting 207, Rome, Georgia 215, and Augusta, Georgia is hitting 220.
Yeah, that's scary because the best pitchers are in the majors, so you usually don't see those pitchers in the minors, right? You might see one here and there that's down to get their feet wet or whatever. They're finding the strike zone or learning the pitch to get them up. But man, you don't see that's why there's a lot of 4A hitters.
I was watching a AAA game the other day. They were showing it on
MLB.
They were showing on Masson one day. They were showing the Norfolk Tides because they're the Baltimore's AAA farm team. They were showing the Norfolk Tides, and Canio was pitching. The Orioles had sent him down. I guess because he wasn't getting anybody out in the majors.
But I mean, that's just that pitching, the balls that ball coming off a major leaguer is a lot different than a minor leaguer. So if you're hitting 217, good luck to you, son.
Anywho, the James Woods of the Washington Nationals. Thursday night, he went 5 for 5 with a home run.
Real deal, man.
He's the youngest player in the franchise history to go 5 for 5. The guy he passed, which was 2 months older than him, Tim Raines, when he was a Montreal Expo. Not bad.
Nah.
They also speculated.
But as long as he don't get a nickname Rock for the same reasons Tim Raines got his nickname Rock, we'll be okay.
Yeah. But anyway.
Yeah.
They also speculated on Woods on the MLB. Who was going to sign him after his rookie contract was up? The Yankees, the Mets, or the Cubs, or the Dodgers? You've already got him gone. The Nationals will not be able to keep him.
Well, and that's because they have the money to do it. They just got to get an owner because they don't have any big contracts. They don't have anything.
No, they don't have anything. So, I mean, and the other thing I heard the other day on MLB, was somebody speculated that the Pittsburgh Pirates ought to trade Skeens before they just lose him to free agency and don't get anything back.
Yeah, I mean, if you're not going to, which MLB has to do something. If we're going to take a couple of minutes here to talk about this, so let me have a little rant. MLB has to step in and go. They have to make a hard bottom. They have to. If you can't make a hard top, you got a flexible top where you're going to pay all these ransom fees if you go over it, whatever it is. You have to make a hard bottom. You have to some of these teams to hang on to. You cannot tell me the Pirates, they make probably just as much money as any other team really. And to not have the money to pay a Skeens and that poor franchise, and we talked about it last week, the 80s and 90s and even the late 60s Pirates teams. This is scandalous for a town that deserves better. That these people are proud. They go out to the game. They support their team. They're wearing their Pirate stuff, but the Pirates don't love them back, and it's sad. At least the Rays try with what they have, with the money they have. And this year, it's proven you have the right ballpark in the right location and come out to watch it. I don't know what Miami needs to figure something out, but these teams, like I think the A's have learned they have to put money into the franchise. They have done better with doing that. But I'm not asking for Pittsburgh to have 6 guys with $100 million contracts for 10 years. I'm asking one major contract and some pieces. I know Reynolds took a big contract with them, 2 years ago? But
that's not even considered a large contract anymore.
Yeah, I think it was like $80 million and for 5 years or something. It was a pretty good contract. But I just feel like MLB, and I know I pick up Pittsburgh a lot because they need to be picked on a lot. It's too good of a franchise. They've been around since early 1900s. It's just they need to be better. It's such a proud city. They love their sports there. It doesn't matter what the sport is. People come out to watch it. The Penguins weren't that great. They came out to watch them. You can put any ball, puck, anything that keeps a score, and people will come out and watch them. That's a town that deserves every major sport that's out there. And I think they don't have basketball. That's like the one major sport they don't have. But I bet you if they did, I bet you if there's a basketball game going on right now at a local park, there's people that are watching it. That's just how that town is. And, I think they deserve better than that. I'll get off my soapbox right now. So.
We talked about Pittsburgh before in the same tone. And you speak about Oakland like that too, the A's, but now the A's Sacramento, they actually picked up some players.
And I'm not afraid to say it. I like Skeens. I think Skeens is a special generational talent. As long as he holds up, he is our generation's Nolan Ryan. You want to talk about somebody that's got a shot at 3,000? He does have a shot at 3,200 wins. Now, if the one thing about him leaving, he's got a better shot at 200 wins if he leaves. But if Pittsburgh builds around him, he's got a good shot at 200 wins there too.
There's no reason why they can't. They used to have a very good baseball team.
Right. It's only the draft picks they get. They ought to have the most stacked, minor league system, and they're not. So what is going on there? You hear about every other minor league system before you hear about Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh's in the middle, and that's about it. They don't even use their draft picks to get good players. You would think if they traded all these players, they would have a stacked, like the Nationals did. They traded players and stacked their minor leagues. Orioles traded and drafted, stacked their system, but not Pittsburgh. They just
the Orioles are playing a lot better, but of course they're playing Atlanta too. So that
right. Well, if Atlanta was playing the Mets, made Atlanta look like they had a chance to come back this year.
Yeah, that's kind of odd. It is odd. The Nationals beat Detroit 2 out of 3. And then Boston came to town and dropped 12 runs on them 2 games in a row.
I just think you get hyped up for certain teams, and Boston and Baltimore. No, that's a rivalry. I mean, they're not but so far away from each other in the same division.
Well, Washington
division is tough.
Boston and Washington. I think yesterday's game was their 20th game they played. Today's the 21st game in the interleague rival. Interleague. 21 games, and I think, if I'm correct, Boston has won 16 or 17 of them.
Right.
It's not even close. But Washington's got a good record against Detroit. All right, now, the standings. In the American League East, the Toronto Blue Jays are up 3 games. They're up 3 games on New York and Tampa. New York and Tampa are tied for second with 3 games out. The people in New York, the Yankee fans in New York want Boone gone. They are going crazy.
They're winning right now 5-0 on Sunday afternoon. Top of the fifth.
Well,
Judge hit a home run.
They won the series 2-1 in Yankee Stadium. The Mets are going to win the series 2-1 in Shea Stadium. So they're going to break even. But the Yankee fans are just irate, and they want him gone. Detroit has a 12.5 game lead on Minnesota.
Who's got the Sunday night game tonight? Because I was like, how's the Mets-Yankees not the Sunday night game? At 6:10, there's a game, and 9:10, there's a game. Is one of those the Sunday night game? Or are they showing both of those?
ESPN has the Sunday night game at 7 o'clock. It might be.
I don't have a 7 o'clock game.
You see, that Baltimore wasn't shown today, and they played an early game against the Atlanta, and it wasn't shown on Masson again. I don't know what's going on with that.
I don't even have Baltimore on here.
They played early today.
Oh, they're a final. That's why.
And they won, I think. They were winning 2-0 when I saw the score, but I couldn't get the game on. Because for some reason, they're not showing some of the Oriole games on Masson. Friday nights and then this morning. It was an early game. Well, I was at church, but I mean, it was still on this afternoon. But anyway, this is something that's kind of interesting. Detroit and Cleveland.
Roku Sports Channel.
Okay, so that's why it went on.
Probably have to have a Roku.
Yeah. All right.
Thing.
Last year, on this date in last year, the Detroit Tigers and the Cleveland Indians had identical records, only flipped. You give Detroit the Cleveland record this year and put them last year, and then Detroit wound up making the playoffs. So you can't count Cleveland out yet, because if they do the same thing, but they're just not hitting the ball. I just don't see it. I don't think they're as good as Detroit was last year. In the West, the Stros have beaten the Dodgers 2 games, and they're up 7 on Seattle. In the National League, the Phillies are up half a game on the Mets, and the Mets going to lose today. And if the Phils lose, it'll still be a half a game. If they win, beat the Reds, it'll be a game and a half.
Yeah, they're in the bottom of 6. I don't know how the scores, but they're in the bottom of 6th.
The Chicago Cubs are up 4 games on Milwaukee, and the Dodgers lead the Padres and the San Francisco Giants by 8.
And just let everybody know, if you don't have the MLB package, it's free this weekend. So you can watch some games for free out of your market, just to let you know.
But I just wanted to point out that in the last few weeks, and here's the other thing scary about the Dodgers. Let's see. The pitchers that are out. Blake Trinan is going to go pitch a couple of rehab games next week. Blake Snell is going to pitch one more rehab game. And Glasnow may pitch Wednesday night in the majors. So if they get these guys back, they've been winning with their offense.
Well, here's my question with Glasnow. Why would you just wait till after the All-Star break?
I don't run the Dodgers. I can't answer that question.
Isn't the All-Star game the 5th? Like that week is the All-Star break?
It's next Tuesday. It's a week from Tuesday.
Right. And was it 4 days now? 4?
I think they don't. I think they play a game Sunday, and then they don't play another game until
Because it's like you got Monday is the futures game.
yeah, and then Tuesday you've got the red carpet in the game itself. Sunday night is the draft.
Well, then Sunday night is the futures game. Monday will be the home run derby.
Yeah, Monday will be the home run derby. Sunday, I guess, or Saturday might be the futures game, son. And Sunday evening is Sunday at 6:00 is the draft on MLB.
Yeah, and then you got the two All-Star games, I think, for two different leagues or the same week. All of the All-Star games. I can't remember how it goes. Then there's one day where there's no games. The last day before they reset, there's nothing going on. There's one day where nobody's playing nothing. There's not a game in baseball. So
it might be Saturday.
And it might be just
Monday off, then the All-Star game Tuesday, and then they have Wednesday and Thursday off, and then they play Friday because they will start back up on Friday because that's the weekend series. Friday,
right,
Saturday,
the weekend series. Yeah.
So they might finish on Friday.
Yeah. Yeah. Because I know a lot of players, unless it's in their contract, they're okay with not making an All-Star team. They'll go to Hawaii for 4 days or somewhere.
Don't blame them.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's just a nice boost. It also helps outside of baseball too to make the All-Star team. So you're more recognizable to sell things.
We tape our show on Sunday, so next week we'll be taping before the draft. So
right, and we'll talk more about the final team and who's on it, who we think should have been on it, all that stuff next week. And the draft next week is going to be interesting because I think Holiday is not going to be the first pick. I think.
I'm living where I live. There's a lot of Washington news around here. It looks like they're going to take the left-hander from LSU.
They did have him and his dad were at Washington last week. They were in the.
They think. Here's two reasons. One, he may be cheaper in the long run. Two, he may get to the majors before Holiday.
Right.
So,
he's
polished.
You got to go with pitching. Pitching.
Yeah, pitching is it. If you don't have pitching, you got nothing.
If you're sitting here and think, look, who do we take? Is he pitch? Yes, we'll take the pitcher. There's no question. And the thing is Holiday might be a better. I don't know how you really grade a fielding player to a pitcher. That's got to be a tough thing to do. But
he may drop to third or fourth. He might drop all the way down to Colorado because everybody else will take pitchers.
Oh, not only that, his brother not doing as well this year at the plate might be hurting him.
Well, I'll tell you the other guy for the Orioles that's not having as good a year as Gunnar Henderson.
Yeah.
So, I mean, he's hitting 270. That's not like he did last year.
Right. I mean, it's just the draft's going to be – and if you're into baseball like we are, you know some names. So that first round can be interesting. I usually have it up when it's going on because it's always interesting to me to see how many shortstops are taken in the first. That's what I look at is to see how many shortstops are taken in the first round. Because and it's always like, they're not going to be shortstops. They're going to play anywhere else but shortstop. But they're shortstop. And then all of a sudden it'd be like this left-handed pitcher from somewhere or something.
Yeah.
But a left-handed pitcher, if they're good, has longevity in the league. It's a specialty. It's like having a catcher that hits left-handed. It's a good thing.
Well, that's what
Got deep.
DeRosa. That's what DeRosa said. That's what DeRosa said on that morning show one day. He said, "If you have a baby, when your son's born and he's laying in the crib, put the baseball in his left hand."
This drives me nuts. McNeil turns Grisham in the center field, and for some reason we're down 5-0, 1 out in the 6th inning. Is this good baseball? McNeil's on second. It wasn't McNeil. McNeil's at second. He goes back like he's going to tag at second base. Why isn't he like 2 steps from third and scores? Make it 5-1 in the 5th inning. You right now your target is 1 run an inning, right? And hold them. That's how you play baseball.
I've seen, son. There's 2 things I noticed watching highlights the past few days on MLB in the mornings. One, it's home run derby. It's hot and it's home run derby. There were 12 runs scored in one game yesterday, and 9 of them were scored off of home runs. It's home run derby. I mean, they're hitting home runs left and right. I tried to pull up how many home runs they were hit yesterday, and I couldn't get the information. But anyway.
It's like a
and the other thing was some of the bad running, base running mistakes and fielding plays. Horrible. I mean, absolutely horrible. Well, and I just going, oh my goodness.
What's the difference in a man at first and second with 1 out, or a man, or with 2 outs, or a man, or one? You still need a base hit to score from third as you would from second. So why would you be trying to tag up at second with 1 out to move forward? Okay, we're just going to score 2 runs now, so shut up. But my whole thing is like, he would have scored there anyway. Why were you tagging up? The guy first couldn't have tagged up. So why were you going to tag up? Now we scored 2 runs. If the ball would have been caught, geez.
Well, yeah, I watch it, and I see a lot of things. I go, I call that Little League, but I'd be insulting the Little League.
Well, I don't know if that's Little League. That is advanced baseball, but to me, it's like
Seattle. I believe it was Seattle in extra innings yesterday bunted the winning run home.
Oh, nice. Because you're sitting here, you got 5. You're down by 5, so all you're thinking is 1 run in the bottom of the 5th. You score 2 now, so we're better. Now we're ahead of the program. But that's what you're thinking as a ball team. There's 1 run an inning. You want to make it as simple as possible, and that's just me. I don't know what I'm talking about, but that's why I got to go to work tomorrow morning. But anyway,
that's why I worked for 42 years.
That's right. And we're just 2 schmucks on here talking baseball. Anything else for us?
Bad when this schmuck knows more about the game than some of the managers.
Well, that's true. That's why I like having you on. Somebody said that it might have been on my live show. They like that. They like that you don't pull punches. It might have been a remark on here, and you come straight ahead with your info. And I'm like, that's my dad. If you don't want to know his opinion, don't ask.
So, I mean, don't tell me you don't like the answer if you were dumb enough to ask the question.
Right. What you got for us, Dad? Heading out.
Yogism for the day. Well, when he played 20 questions, they used to play 20 questions a lot. Just to be passing the time, cards, 20 questions, stuff like that. And the first thing he'd always ask is the guy living or dead. I mean, that was his first question every time, so they kidded him about it all the time. But the thing that was today is he said, always go to other people's funerals or they won't go to yours.
I've heard that, yeah.
And what he meant, well, he was talking to Whitey Ford and Mickey Mantle. They were talking about going to a lot of funerals for 1 year, in 1 year, where relatives and stuff are passing. And what he meant was that if you don't go to the funerals, then the people that go to those funerals and see that you're not there, when you die, they're not going to yours.
Right.
That's what he meant.
Yeah.
The way he said, again, what he says and what he meant are 2 different things.
Exactly.
Like the guy that you just went to his funeral, he's not going to go to yours. Gee, I wonder why. But anyway, that's my yogiism for today.
Well, yeah, today I did get some stuff off my chest and feel better about it. And, always like a good busting on the front office of the Pirates. I feel better with the Rays. I believe the Rays. I want to see some playoff baseball in a minor league ballpark. That's what I want to see. And I hope MLB takes away something that bigger and grander might not always be better, and really look at that when you're building the Vegas park.
Well, there's a glitch in that, and they didn't explain what it was, but there's a glitch in it.
The money's still not there. They
Exactly.
they did a. Here's the glitch: you did a ceremony and you still don't have plans because the money's not there. Nobody's come up with their half of their money. So you did a digging ceremony because you're pushing this to be built by 2028, come hell or hot water, but the most important part is what is the contractor's going to show up the first day and what are they going to do?
Like, yeah, where's my check?
Yeah, it's ridiculous. But anyway, that's the craziness that we're living in with the sports world. I'm glad we have to laugh at there because the real world is not much to laugh at right now. So I hope everybody out there is taking care of one another, love one another, be there for one another, and love the sport and enjoy it. And again, just watch what you're saying to the players. They're out there entertaining us. Yes, they make a lot of money, and we pay to go watch them. But you decided to pay to go watch them. So until next time, like, share, tell a friend, and please subscribe if you haven't. Let us know how you're feeling down below. And until next time, we will see ya.